Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Queen Sugar Season 2, Episode 1, which was titled After the Winter. And let me tell you guys, Miss Oprah Winfrey did not disappoint. This was a great season opener, so let's go ahead and get started. I missed like the first minute. It was something going on with Nova, and I'm assuming it was Calvin. Maybe they broke up or something because at the end of the show, Nova was in bed with another white man. So I'm thinking her and Calvin broke up, but because the show didn't re-air immediately after, for some reason, one of them Tyler Perry TV shows is on. What's that one? If Loving You Is Wrong, I think is what's on now. So I didn't get to see what happened in that first minute. But if you know what happened, leave it in the comments and let me know what it was. So Aunt Vi is missing herself some Hollywood. And if Hollywood don't hurry up and get his butt back home, Aunt Vi might end up with Prosper. Because I thought last season that there was kind of some tension, some emotional bonding taking place between Aunt Vi and Prosper. So Hollywood, you better get your act together and get on back home, because Aunt Vi calling and he not answering the telephone. She all on his social media page and he not updating Facebook and all of that. So she about to lose her mind. And then she fooled around with Miss Nova, and she gonna lose her man, because then Nova come in and want to take her and Charley out for Micah's birthday, because in this episode it's Micah's 16th birthday. And then there was a scene where Hollywood calls Ralph Angel to ask that Ralph Angel, how Aunt Vi is doing, and Ralph Angel's like, I'm not getting into that. If you want to know how Aunt Vi is doing, then you need to pick up the phone and call Aunt Vi and ask her how she's doing. So one up for Ralph Angel. Don't play into that, being a messenger and filling him in and all that stuff, because I don't know what kind of game Mr. Hollywood is trying to play. So then Nova heads over to a baby shower with one of her, I don't know if it was a friend or a relative, but it was a bunch of black women there, and the lady's having twins. And so we find out that she's a single parent, and I guess the guy is no longer there, or maybe she, I don't know, did some artificial insemination or something. But the ladies, sit down and they get to talking and everything. And so the pregnant lady is basically saying how, she never thought she would be single at this age, and she never thought she would be having a baby by herself. And her life just didn't turn out the way she thought it was going to. So Nova, she starts with her feminist, views of the world, and telling her, you don't need a man to have a baby, and you don't need a man to raise a child, which is something I totally disagree with. I mean, I'm a single mother, and yes, you can raise your child on your own, but despite it all, children need both of their parents. They need both parents, whether the parents are together or not, because there's things that I couldn't teach my daughters that only their father could teach them, and there are things that he couldn't teach them that they needed me to teach them. So it is a partnership, and kids do need a mother and a father. So Nova, get over yourself. So then Nova starts telling the women that, they got to get over this notion, of being alone, because there is no eligible black men, and that they need to start dating outside their race. And then she was talking about some event she was having that Saturday night, where she wants them to come and meet some Latino men and some white men and all that. So I don't have a problem with the dating outside your race. My daughter, actually, my oldest daughter, is in a relationship with a white guy, and he's a pretty cool guy. So then Charley is willing and dealing, and she's in a meeting with these people trying to get a loan for this doggone sugar mill. And so she has her presentation, and she has Lord, I can't even think of the man name, but the guy that she was flirting with on last season. So he's there, to help her with the logistics and backing up what she's saying, and letting the guy know how many farmers have agreed to sign with the Queen Sugar Mill, and how many say they'll come along if she gets the financial backing. So then the guys say that they're all in, that they are going to invest in the sugar mill and give her the money that she needs, but with one exception, that Davis is a part of the deal. So Charley's like, oh no, he has nothing to do with this. I'm doing this on my own. But they brought her back down real quick. letting her know that it is a man's world and that they're not getting that deal done without Davis's brand behind it, because that's the only reason they were even entertaining having a conversation with her, was because of Davis, and they like Davis, and he has a strong brand and everything. So that was a little humbling experience for Charley. As I mentioned earlier, it's Micah's birthday, and he's having dinner or lunch with Charley and Kiki. And so he's telling them that, this was a very special dinner for him, and it made his birthday special, having his two favorite women there. And Kiki was looking at him like, you got a brand new car out there in that parking lot, and I'm sure that is the best gift you received on your birthday. And then Micah was like, no, that's Davis. He bought that car. That car don't mean nothing to me. And Kiki was like, boy, whatever. We gonna be riding in style in that car. In a later scene, the ladies are at a club, because remember, Nova wanted to take Charley out to celebrate Micah's birthday. And so Aunt Vi is looking like she is 3 sheets to the wind, and she's whining about Hollywood and how, Hollywood won't answer her calls, and how she's been stalking his Facebook page, and he won't, he's not posting pictures, and she don't know what she want to do. And then Nova was looking like, y'all not getting ready to ruin my evening. Let's get out here on this dance floor and get to dancing and carrying on. So she goes out on the floor, and she hooks up with this guy, and I think he was like a Latino or Spanish guy. And so they're dancing and grinding, and he rubbing all down her body and filling her all up. And so Charley is looking at her like, girl, do you not have any shame? And then she turned her head, and who should she see over in the VIP but Mr. Davis and the hooker who was threatening to put his butt in jail for raping her. What was her name? Alina Gutierrez, whatever that child name was. But he over there all hugged up with her. And I'm just like, Davis done moved to St. Joe or New Orleans or wherever they were at and brought the hooker with him. Like, who does that? He has no shame. So then Charley goes over to confront him and be like, how dare you embarrass me? And, why are you here with this? She kept calling her this. She wouldn't call her by a name or hook or nothing. She's like, you're here with this. You want this. You allowed this to mess up our wedding, so our marriage. So then Aunt Vi and Nova realized what was going on. So Aunt Vi came over on 10, and she was letting Davis have it. So then security come, and Davis tells security to kick Aunt Vi and Nova out. I mean, like, they manhandled them and carried them out of the club. And I'm just like, Davis, like, you are lower than low. You are like, what was that line from the movie Grease where she said men are like fleas on dogs? No, they're like ticks on fleas on dogs. No, they're like mites like ticks on fleas on dogs. Well, Davis, you are whatever the smallest insect below a mite is, because you was just low down and dirty right there. So then, Charley just like so disgusted by him, and I think he even told Charley like why she worried about it, because there's no cameras in the club, and so nobody's taking pictures. It's not going to get into the media. Well, honey, after they threw Aunt Vi up out of there may not have been any cameras in that club, but trust me, I'm sure that story got out into social media. So then we have a scene where Darla is at I guess an alcoholic, narcotics anonymous meeting, and she's telling her little tragic life story about growing up, and I think her mom yelled at her about something, and then she starts telling them about she's biking in Blue's life and just how she would never treat Blue the way that her parents treated her, and she realizes that she's been gone away from her meetings for a long time, but now she has hope and a reason to do better. And so as much as I be trying not to like Darla, I think she gonna kind of make me like her before it's all over and done with. So back at the house, it was something called Freedom Day, and I guess it had something to do with the farmers or whatever, or maybe it was like a version of Juneteenth. I never did catch what it was, but basically it's the family tradition to all get together and have dinner. So at the house, everybody is there except for Darla and Micah. So they're talking and, reminiscing over Ernest and everything. And so Darla finally shows up. So when she gets there, Ralph Angel like pulls her outside and take her off, and it was like, well, where you been? Like he's not trusting her, and every time she don't show up on time or where she's supposed to be, he's gonna be worried that she's in a hole somewhere doing drugs. And I'm like, when you date a recovering drug addict, that I'm sure that's something that really bothers people and that they worry about. But once you make that decision to take them back, you got to give them trust. You got to believe that they're going to do the right thing. So Darla was, explaining to him that she went to the meetings and, she had to see her sponsor and how important this is to her recovery. And so Ralph Angel was like, well, is it really necessary? So then she had to break it down to him on the basic level and tell him that her disease can't be cured, that this is something she has to work at every day of her life, and that he needs to, he's going to have to accept that or it's not going to work between them. So I think he kind of figured it out, and then, they went on inside. So they're at the table and they join hands together and they're praying over dinner, and then all of a sudden, Charley's phone starts to buzz, and so she's like trying to silence her phone until they can finish the prayer. And so when they finish the prayer, she gets up and the phone is buzzing again, and it turns out to be Davis. And so Davis is asking her, where is Micah, because he left his place hours ago and he's trying to call him, but he's not answering the phone or picking up or anything. And so then Charley gets concerned, because he hasn't shown up. So she calls Kiki, and Kiki hasn't seen him. So now everybody's worried. And rightfully so, because on his way home, Micah gets pulled over by the police. So the old white fart tells Micah over the microphone to turn the car off. So Micah turns the car off, and then the guy comes up and he got his gun, got his hand on the gun, just ready to shoot, because they be on 10 by the time they get out the car anyway. So then he knocks on the window and tells Micah to roll the window down. So Micah's like, I have to cut the car back on to roll the window down. And he's like, roll the window down now. So my blood pressure was up. It's just like, oh, Jesus, help us, help us, help us. So anyway, at some point, Mr. Old White Police Officer calmed down. So Micah crunked the car up and let the window down. So the guy asked him for his driver's license. And so Michael was like checking his pocket, and he said, oh, I think I may have left it at home. And then he says, well, give me the registration to the car. This is your car, right? And so Michael's like, yeah, I just got the car. So Michael reaches over to go to the glove compartment to get the doggone license, and homeboy pulled that gun out and was like, get out of the car now, get out of the car now. And I'm just like, and I know in my heart that this is how this nonsense be happening in real life. And just so you guys know, they still killing black people in America. As a matter of fact, somebody asked the question on Facebook, are they still killing black people in America? And I think that was on Monday. So as of Monday, 747 people have been killed by police in the United States since January 1st. So that's 6 months. 6 months, we've already killed 747 people. And of that 747, 27 were unarmed people. And then I think of that 27, 8 of them were unarmed black men. And so I think it was 12. So 27, it was 12 white people, 8 black people, that's 20. It was 4 Hispanic, and then 3, I think, were unidentified. And then on top of that, we find out about the lady, I think her name was Charlene Lyons or something, Charlene Lyles, in Seattle, Washington, who was murdered by the police the other day in front of 3 of her 4 children. So she suffered from mental illness. She called the police because her and her husband got into an argument or something. So she called the police to tell them that she had been robbed. So the police come in and she tells them that somebody stole her Xbox. And then she leaves the room and goes into another room. And then when she comes back, she has a knife in her hand. So then the one police officer tells the other police officer to taser her. And then the guy say, I don't have a taser. And then within seconds, they open fire and murder this woman in cold blood. So of those 747 people that have been murdered by police since, as of Monday, I think there was 100 and something that suffer from some form of mental illness. And of the people who have been killed by police who suffer from mental illness, a large majority of them were carrying a knife. That was what threatened the police officers, is that they were having a knife. Now my thought is this. You can de-escalate a situation with a person with a knife better than you can with a person who has a gun. And when they realized that she had the knife, and then it turns out that they had been to the house before, so they were familiar with this woman, knew that she suffered from mental illness. So I just think that they could have handled that situation so much better, but instead they chose to murder this lady. And now I think they say she's also pregnant. She has 4 kids. She's pregnant with the 5th child. And now, 4 children don't have a mother, because they are unskilled, untrained, and obviously ill-equipped to deal with situations that they're responding to. So I had to get that off my chest. But back to Micah. So the man pulls the gun on Michael, and I think we all probably crapped in our clothes at that point. I'm like, oh my God, please don't let this man shoot Micah. So then they turn away from Micah, and then we have Charley and Nova, and they're out searching for Micah when they come across the car on the side of the road. So I'm thinking to myself, now Micah is 16 years old. How do you arrest a minor and then don't call the parents and let the parents know that their child is under arrest, or that you're taking the child into custody? Just craziness. So while they're, at the scene, we have Micah, a scene at the jail where Micah is being processed. And then they put him in a cell in general population with some grown men. So like, ooh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. So Charley and Nova, they called his phone. The phone was left in the car because it was where he had took the phone out of his pocket and laid it on the console. And so they're calling the phone, and they hear the music going off on the phone, so they realize Micah isn't in the car. So I think Nova called the police and found out that he was being held, or he had been picked up. So they go to the jail, and then, Charley is going off like, my son is here, blah blah blah. So the guy is looking at her like, who the hell you think you talking to, in that tone of voice. So then Nova steps in, tell Charley to move over. So then she's like, my nephew Micah West, we were told that he was picked up and he was brought down here, can you check your system and let us know what's going on. So then the guy checks the system, but then he claims that Micah isn't in the system. And I'm sitting on the sofa going, spell his name, spell his name. He thinks you're saying Michael. I'm telling him it's Micah, M-I-C-A-H, or however they spell it on the show. So the guy insists that, Micah ain't there. So then in walks Davis. So he tells Charley to stand down and step back and watch the brand at work. So the police officer like, oh my God, that's Davis West. That's Davis West. Davis West is here. Oh, Mr. West, we're so happy. And, that's what, thank you for why I reminded myself. The reason Davis is in New Orleans is because he signed with their basketball team. I remember that. So that's why his evil ass is there. So then the guy's like, oh, we're glad that you're with the team, blah, 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 blah. So then Davis is like, yeah, thank you. He says, my son, Micah West, he was brought in. Can you check the system? So the guy's like, well, we can't find him in the system. And then Davis said, well, can you check again? So I'm sitting there like, spell his name. But anyway, what did the black police officer tell the white police officer to ask Davis to take a selfie? And I'm just like, are y'all serious right now? These people in here concerned about their son, and y'all trying to take a selfie? Is that what we're doing now? So, Davis said, oh, yeah, sure, so he taking the selfie, and Charley is about to damn implode. No, she was about to explode. She wasn't going to implode. So Davis is like, well, can you go in the back and check like the holding cells or something? And they were like, yeah, anything for you, Mr. West. So the black guy going back there. Charley like, damn well you ain't up here taking pictures and kikiing with these damn people, and they got our son. So then Davis is like, be quiet. So sure enough, they came out with Micah and turned him over to, Davis. So then we get outside and Nova, she's trying to comfort Micah and she's hugging him and telling him everything's going to be okay. And then he looks down and we see that he had wet himself. And I'm just like, oh, this poor baby. Like, they just going to emasculate like this. Like, and I can just only imagine what black men, let alone black boys, be going through when they get stopped by the police. And did you guys see that video going around social media with the lady? She was leaving the Air Force Base and she got stopped by the police and she was so afraid, and she did a live video after the police officer left to say how afraid she was, and that the police officer was like, ma'am, I was just checking on you because I thought you looked tired and you were kind of weaving. And then she told him, that she was afraid, and then he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, I was just checking on you. And I'm thinking that there were more police officers like that. But anyway, try to find that video. It was very emotional. So Nova gives Micah a sweater or something to tie around himself to cover up, the wet stain. And she tells him, everything's going to be okay. So then we go over there to Davis and Charley, and they yelling and screaming at each other. And she's mad, that he was catering to these people and their nonsense. And he was basically like, I will do anything to protect my son, and if I got to shuck and jive to get him out of trouble, then damn it, I'm going to be shucking and jiving. So then Micah and Nova walk over, and then Micah's just standing there like in shock, and then Charley walks away. And I'm thinking, like, can you not have any compassion in your heart? And actually, before she walked away, Davis was telling her, that she's selfish and that her problem is she doesn't like, not having control. And this is one of those situations where once in your lifetime, you don't have control over everything. So then that's when she walked away. And then he like apologized to Micah, for everything. And then he tells him that everything's going to be all right, that he's there and he's going to protect them and all that stuff. And so the two of them hug. So we get back to the house, and Ralph Angel was telling Darla, he was going to get Blue and for her to meet him back at the house. But Darla said, we ain't going to be shaking up. I'm going back to my house and you going back to your house. She said, because we both got to get our lives together and be able to stand on our own before we can stand together. So I'm like, ooh, Darla, you tagging on my heartstrings, girl. Like, I'm liking you a little bit more every time you open your mouth on this episode. So I think me and Darla going to be friends, and she better not let me down by the end of this season. So I think that was about it. Aunt Vi did end up calling Hollywood, and he answered the phone, and so she was telling him about Micah, and then she broke down and told him that she don't want to live like this no more. She need her man, and she need her man back, and she need him to come home soon because they need to work things out. And then Hollywood said he agreed that he does need to come home, so I don't know how long it's going to take him to get there. Oh, and then the show ended with Charley, deceitful ass, forging Davis' name on them contract papers for them white folks. So child, I don't know how she thinks she gonna get away with it, but we're gonna roll with you, Charley, to see how this ends for you. So that's it for me, guys. Let me know what you thought about the recap, what you thought about the first episode. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.